Hey, good morning. This is Mike G, and this is your Morning Buzz. Good morning, everybody. Listen, I wanted to take a few moments and I want to talk about some things that will help you to gauge your success, or at least to give you some ability to create something with your life, and to notice some things that aren't going so well. So if you find things that aren't going well in your life, there chances are that you're missing action. That's the piece that probably needs to be inserted. And let me just kind of start with this. First of all, I want to talk about being in the stands versus being on the court. Now, as I explain this, just follow along because it's a real simple concept, but it's also kind of one of those things where we don't think about this very often, right? So there's a conversation that takes place when you're in the stands. And that conversation sounds a lot like, hey, they just made a touchdown, or so-and-so tackled and it was awesome, and look how fast that guy went, or whatever, right? Great three-point shot, whatever. That's the conversation in the stands. A lot of times in life, it sounds like, describing what's happening in your life, what's happening to you, or what's happening in your life. And sometimes it's not like you're making it happen. So what it's like on the court is a very different conversation when the players are communicating. What are they talking about? What exactly is happening on the court? And that's the conversation I want to talk to you about getting you on the court. Now, here's what this sounds like when you're on the court. You're planning your next move. You're planning, your conversation is about, okay, here's what we're going to do next. Here's the next play. Here's what we're going to be up to. And you're going to do this and I'm going to do that, right? These kinds of conversations are very different than, so-and-so had a great game, right? Or whatever happened. Those conversations are very different. Now, here's what happens in our lives, and it's just natural, just normal. We start experiencing, and this is also a great way to gauge where you're really at in your progression towards your goals, or towards, whatever you've set up for yourself to achieve, okay? And so one of the things that we start to experience, and I'm just going to pull this up for you right here, is we start to experience feelings. These feelings are great markers for what's going on in your life. So if you start to experience fear, you're discouraged, you have anxiety, anger, just envy, blame, sadness, frustration, I can list them all. But the point is that if you're experiencing these emotions right now in your life, there's a very good chance that activity is not present. Okay, and activity takes place in your life, these things go away. Why? Because it's the difference between being on the stands or on the court. Now, if you're actively doing something, chances are you're not describing it as though it's someone else's life happening. You're actually describing it as though you're doing something about it. What's next for you? And I've got a great friend that just illustrates that in his life, and being on the court, and it's just like, look, I just need to get an action around this. And so what are the solutions? And honestly, the moment you start to plan activity and you create those activities, this just goes away. It disappears almost immediately. But it also takes some decisions. Now, tomorrow, what I'm going to talk about is creating a massive action plan. Tony Robbins calls it a map. So how do you get out of these emotions, getting rid of those out of your life? You take action. So tomorrow we're going to talk about how to create a massive action plan and how to get it moving right now. For the Morning Buzz, I'm Mike G.